The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be on a Monday night. If you're a Spurs fan, smash a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. Thanks for being here as always. Appreciate you all. Any comments, put them in the chat. We'll try and go through them as the show goes on. If you've got any questions or topics you want us to talk about, get your super chats in and we will definitely discuss or answer. Spurs. Spurs. Should we just stop the show now and put last week's show on repeat, and the week before that on repeat, and the week before that on repeat, and then just next week we'll put this week's show on repeat, and then maybe one day it might change. I don't know. Iggy, what can we talk about that we haven't spoken about 1,000 times?
All there is. Listen, well, no, you're right. It's just that every week, I honest to God, guys, I this morning I was thinking about doing a morning video, and that's exactly the question I asked myself: what can I possibly say that's gonna, first of all, uplift the mood? Because the whole point of doing a morning video is just to uplift the mood a little bit. That's my mindset. I'll try to alleviate a little bit, and I'm thinking to myself, nah, man, I can't. There's nothing to say. How can I alleviate this situation right now in anywhere, from whichever angle I look at it from? The only thing that can happen, that has to happen for me, which hasn't happened yet, is to change manager. And I know, like, we can talk about, it's just like, and yet another manager. We can talk about all of that. But right now, what is the one thing, the easiest thing to do in this moment, right here, right now, other than getting players in 20 days into the market, and we haven't got a single player through the door yet. But other than that, and changing the manager, how can we kickstart this second half of the season? Because right now, man, we are in seriously dire straits. So that's the reason why I haven't done a morning video, because I just didn't know what to say, like, and do, because we're not doing absolutely anything. 24 hours later, after the match ended, no change, nothing, no clubs, and the worst thing about it, and this is the biggest thing for me, not a single club statement about anything. I mean, a club that doesn't make a single statement to do with football stuff, for me, is incredible. Over to you guys.
Maz, we signed Werner and we told the world alarm bells. We then said, end of August, this squad isn't good enough. We were told that we hate the club, we're toxic, we're negative. Then there was moments of really good results followed by back-to-back bad results. There are moments of good, moments of bad, and we said this is not sustainable. We got told that we don't back the team, we hate the club, go support Arsenal. Now, the wheels have come off. Fans are going after Levy. Fans are going after Ange. Fans are going after Ange. Everything that we said has literally come true. Is it now a point where we deserve an MBE from King Charles? Should we be knighted as YouTube royalty? Maz, over to you.
I'm surprised that it wasn't done last year. So I'm surprised. I'm a little bit disappointed that we weren't on the list from last year. Sir Stel, Sir Iggy, Sir Lee, Sir Maz, you might as well.
I want to be called Sir Spursy. I want to be Sir Spursy.
Yeah.
Sir Spursy.
God, well, I echo what Iggy said. Well, what can you say? I've been listening to a lot of shows today whilst working. Listening to Talk Sport and Sky, and flicking through the various podcasts that are out there, seeing what they're saying. And I think what I find really it does make me, I guess, a little bit angry in the sense that, you know, you get channels all of a sudden they're like, oh, we know who the problem is, Daniel Levy this, Daniel Levy that, and then and they've all come to the conclusion that, you know, there's nothing they can do, because Daniel Levy is not going anywhere. But then, you know, they also say that Ange should be sacked, and I'm like, well, hold on a minute. You hounded people like Jose, people like Conte, near the end when Pochettino was doing bad, rather than showing them the same level of support that they've shown Ange. You know, you were all saying, oh, maybe he can't take us to that next step and win something. You know, we handed out people like Sherwood and AVB. They never got the same level of support, but you could argue they are far better managers, certainly the latter rather than the former, than Ange. So there is obviously things that can change in the short term to improve the situation, because ultimately we've got to stop the bleeding, right? But what is really disappointing is that they're effectively come to our way of thinking that there needs to be radical change in the ownership structure, right? And they've done nothing about it. In fact, they've enabled the lies. They were part of the propaganda news cycle that happened every week, every month, every day with Tottenham Hotspur, right? They were parroting the journalists out there that were then parroting what the marketing and media department at Spurs wanted them to parrot. You know, they're all aboard the Ange train, right? They're all aboard, you know, Daniel Levy building the stadiums, building the hotels, signing these young players. And now all of a sudden, oh, actually, Levy is the problem. And it's like, well, it's a bit too late now, to be honest with you. I mean, okay. You could say it's never too late, or better late than never. But the club's gone down the shitter. The fan base has given up, and now they're coming to our side of the argument. Okay, so let's not be so harsh. Let's just accept that they've come to our side of the argument now, right? They come to our way of thinking. All right, what are you going to do about it? What are they going to do about it? What the fans going to do? Are they going to protest? Are they going to start, you know, being sort of on the ground activists? Are they going to start singing in the stadium? Are they going to start demanding change at Spurs? Are they going to start saying we want value for our pound note that we spend in the stadium?
Do you think we haven't hit low enough yet? Do you think we haven't quite hit that rock bottom moment for that to happen? Do you think that we need to lose to Leicester? We need to crash out the Carabao Cup. We've got to lose to Hoffenheim. Do you think we need just a little bit more pain for people to say, right, that's it? I'm not having it anymore. Do you? Because it kind of feels that way. That's how it comes across to me at the moment.
Oh, any lower and we're going into the Championship. So don't know how low they want to really go. I mean,
more out the cups.
Diabolical. Well,
Lee, let me ask Lee. Lee, do you think that fans have written off the season, but they think that we're going to make a miraculous performance turnaround and do the unthinkable at Anfield, do the unthinkable in Europe, because we haven't won a European trophy in over 40 years? Do you think fans are just... I don't even want to say believe, because I think most of them deep down don't believe we will. Not with what's going on. But do you think that's what... We haven't essentially hit rock bottom yet? Whereas for us, we feel that we hit rock bottom 5 years ago. But do you think there is still a significant amount of fans and YouTubers that feel we're not quite at that bottom of the barrel yet?
Well, first off, can you hear me right now?
Perfectly.
Yes, we can hear you loud and
There
clear.
we go. Sorted it. Do you know what? Sorry. For me, personally, I don't think I've ever felt as so distant from Spurs as a club as I do this season. And I say that for a number of reasons. Not just because of the fan base is so split. The club is barely, communicating with fans. They don't seem to care. I don't think it's been as bad as this for me to support a club. And even to the extent, and this might sound like a really stupid thing, but I got an appointment on Sunday at 2:00, and I knew the game wasn't at 2:00, but I took it anyway because I thought, what am I going to miss? If it's anything going to be like Everton and stuff like that, I really don't. I'd rather put myself through a grueling procedure in my ears than to actually sit there and watch Tottenham get pulled apart again. And it's not even just, do you know what? It's not even the fact that we're getting beat. It's the manner in which we're getting beat. It's the manner of having to sit there for the first 10 or 15 minutes and like we did on Sunday and be like, what on earth are we watching? It's not a case of Everton just came out and they were the better team. It was just a case of what on earth are we watching? What is going on? I mean, I think it took about 50. I don't even think we even got to a concise decision between the WhatsApp groups as to what we were playing on the first half. I couldn't work out what the formation was. It's absolutely mad. So, personally, for me, this I think this is for me is almost getting rock bottom. Listen, I don't think we get relegated. I think there's enough distance between us and the bottom three. And that would mean they'd have to turn into prime Barca and Madrid and start beating, Liverpool's and Man City's and all this kind of stuff. And I don't see that happening. I really don't see us getting relegated. And I feel that we will pick up points in some games. But the uncertainty and the inconsistency is just, it doesn't look like it's changing. And the thing for me that I don't understand, either people making comment that quite clearly were never supporters of this club before Ange turned up, or are literally just so far down into the rabbit hole of Spurs and the managers can't do anything wrong, is that there's still people out there saying that we're going to win a cup or we're going to do this. I mean, let's face it, I'm struggling. And I said to you, this guys, I think it was yesterday it was yesterday in the WhatsApp chat. There's only two things that are certain. You'd never know the outcome of a Spurs game until A, you see the team sheet, and B, the whistle goes. Because before that, you can't call them anymore. No other season before this one and the last one would you say we're going to Everton, who's in the bottom three, and we weren't pasting them, right? Now, you just can't tell. Every game seems to be a flip of a coin, depending on how we set up or how they turn up or whether they counter us and stuff like that. It's just, it's really mind-boggling, and I hate it because I just want to see our guys doing well. I just want to see the team doing well. I just want to see us win. I want to see us near the top of the table where we should be. We promote ourselves as a big club, yet we're not playing like a big club. And the injury thing is this injury excuse has got to stop. If people just spout crap in chats going, oh, the injuries and we're going to do this or wait until all these guys are back, go and do your research. The games that we had these guys, our win rates are no better than when without them. So Ren, Romero, etc., our win rate is no better with them in the team than it is without the team. It's not the players, it's the tactics and the way that they're set up. It is not built for the Premier League.
The next few games, I mean, we got Leicester at home. You got 2 Europa League games. You've got Liverpool coming up, but in Premier League, we got Leicester at home, Brentford away, Aston Villa away, and Man United at home. Those are our next Premier League fixtures. Now, are any of those games winnable in this moment in time? With our current team, with our current situation, our current form, are any of those games winnable for us? And forget any other time, and any other time we would say, yeah, Leicester at home, you'd fancy the chances. Brentford is always away, is always a tough game, and then Villa away, and then Man United at home. I mean, at the best of times, there'll be proper games there, but right now, man, it's like this is what I was saying this yesterday. I said, where in the Savo show, I said, where I don't see a situation right now where we can win 2 or 3 games on a bounce. I mean, winning a game will be already a massive achievement. But do you know why I can't see a game? It's not because, listen, losing 2 or 3 games, you're already in a rut. But when you won 1 in 10, I don't even know what to call that. Can't even call that a rut anymore. That's like proper, like bad ass form. But the biggest issue for me is like how are you expected to change anything when you're not recognizing the issues that you're having? Even if you want to talk about injuries or not in this case, you got to set up and say, look, the first objective right now is just not to concede. You know what? If we could just go a game where we set up not to concede, even if you have to go to a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1, whatever, just say, look, set us up in a way where we make everybody sure of themselves, put a player in a position where you're exposing their strengths rather than weaknesses. Because right now, all our players are
Just make the team
exposed.
solid, Iggy. We're too open.
And
We're
exactly
just
too open. Players like Dragusin, right? Oh, like we're saying this in yesterday's stream. There, we said he's an old style centre back. And what does any centre back, anyone that's even played in that position, will tell you what's the one thing that an old style centre back, not a modern day, but an old style like Dragusin is, John Terry style, or Tony Adams style. What is it they want? They don't want to be exposed in one-on-one situation. They certainly don't want to be in a situation where there's 2 against a whole load of forwards coming at them with 2 fullbacks high up. They want everyone round them so they're not exposed. They're a unit, right? We're not doing that. We don't have centre backs right now, this moment, anyone that can play that can handle one-on-one situations. The only one yesterday I've seen in the last few games that can handle one-on-ones is Jed Spence. Everyone else has been getting ripped to shreds, right, in one-on-ones. So why not recognise that? Say, look, man, I know it's not my way of playing, but let's just change it up a little bit where we solidify our defensive shape, not to concede, because you always know that further up front, we've got players in there that can nick you a goal. At the very minimum, they can always nick you a goal. And that already is somewhat, for short term at least, stopping the hemorrhaging that we're doing right now. So we're stopping the hemorrhaging.
But Iggy,
but we're
this
not
is the brain thing that I don't get with this club, right?
At any
We've literally,
level,
it's a defensive issue, right? We've got no defenders.
Of course
so we bring Scarlett back from loan when we've just got Richie back and Lancashire on the bench, yet we send Dorrington as centre-back out on loan.
Yeah, Dorrington, Phillips.
It's madness. Absolute
but at the
madness.
moment, I mean, even Dane Scarlett, right? We brought him back in because we got now with Solanke out. It's just an
I think, just to let you know, I think Dane Scarlett's going to be loaned back out. They brought him back because he's not getting minutes at Oxford, so I think he's going to go back out.
So he's not been brought out back because of we've got strikers.
That's not what I've been informed, but we'll see.
But the issue is, and even then we can talk about that. Why?
Because they've got Lancashire and Richarlison's back, so that's 2 strikers potentially. So
but the thing is, right now, even if you don't, I can understand from a board situation, thinking, I'm not really going to go and spend 100 million on the January transfer market on a manager that could potentially be sacked at the end of the season. And I can almost understand that from an ownership point of view. I can understand you not going to invest in someone that you potentially might be sacking because he's out of his depth. I get that thinking. Then you're thinking, all right, bring in a couple of players on loan, bring 2 or 3 players on loan to the end of the season, the way what we did with Werner in the first time around, to the end of the season, just to say, you know what, here's a little bit of a backup to get you out of this spot to the end of the season. And then at the end of the season, if you don't confirm the manager, then the next manager has the saying of that
Iggy.
any players coming forward. But right now, the first
Guys,
thing that needs to happen.
But hold on a minute. Hold
the
on.
first
Hold
thing
on.
that needs to happen is to set us up in a way that we stop conceding. Because if you're gonna win games, or if you're gonna try and get points, which is what we
should we go into the Everton
to
game?
address
Should we just discuss the Everton game a bit?
You need to address
One
it.
second. I just want to. So Iggy, when you said about the board not spending any more money on Ange during
this transfer
January,
market, yeah.
right? So what are we saying then? Are we saying that Ange hasn't been backed, or has he been backed? Because the way I see it is he's had 18 months and £350 million spent to refresh the squad.
No,
right?
I'm not saying.
I think that. Hold on. And what I've heard from various channels, right? Not you specifically, Iggy, although you touched upon it, is that the board might not trust Ange to give him any more money, which is at the point you made, or if they really back him, then they should go out and spend the money because he needs help, he needs players. And I think, I think the reason why we're not going out and spending the money from Levy's perspective is as an example, Lange is going to Levy and saying, "Hey boss, I've got, I don't know, Osman ready to sign.
Yeah.
Right? I need you to spend 60 million, right?" And Levy's saying to him, "Hold on a minute, I've just given you 350 million to build this squad out. What do you mean you need more money?" That's more the conversation I think is having, not that they don't back him, or not that they haven't recognised that he needs help. Levy's thinking, hold on a minute, I've just given you 350 million, more money than any other manager that I've given before. You chose to get rid of Højbjerg, Skip, Rodon, Sessegnon, and whoever else he's got rid of. You chose to loan out Solomon, right? And a few of our youngsters out. You're the person who chose to configure the squad in this way, and now you're telling me that you want more players.
Maz, you could be right. I'm not suggesting in any way or form that your conversation, your analysing or your point of view in this situation isn't right. It's all because at the end of the day, who knows what conversations are being had.
I'm just offering
yours.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yours is the right idea. It could be the case. I'm just saying, if there is an element of doubt from an owner's point of view where this guy may not be kept, I can understand why. But then I'm thinking, okay, what other methods what other situations are there that we can sort this out? Because one thing there's no two ways that we don't need players to come in this transfer market. We need at least 2 or 3 players to come in, even if it is on a temporary situation, should they not believe in a manager anymore. Or it might be your case where I've given you the money, I'm not spending any more money. Regardless of the matter, you still need 2 or 3 players online. Even in your case, it would be 2 or 3 players online, right?
It's a perfect example. You're hearing reports today, right? And I saw that Scarlett is coming back. And I'm like, okay, we're shorthanded on forwards, even now with Solanke being out, right? And you have West Ham, right, who just went above us. West Ham, who is, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it because Villa still has a lot to play for, Champions League and top 4. Duran, West Ham is making a bid. West Ham, and we're supposed to be bigger. We have a great need, and like I said, I don't believe this is going to happen. But apparently, West Ham is putting the bid to try to get Duran, who I think, with more playing time, I rate him, to pry him from Villa to West Ham. And I'm thinking, right, because I know we've been bashing Levy and Ange, of course. What the hell is our scouting department doing? What is Lang and Scott Munn and these amateurs? What the hell are they doing? Are they sleeping on the job? Like, what the hell? What are they doing?
Guys, can I
for a while?
Can I just 1 second?
We need forward.
Can we get into the Everton game? Because I do want to discuss the Everton game because we're talking about recruitment and that. I want to come on to that. I just want to go into the Everton game because there's things in that game that, regardless of recruitment, and we will come on to recruitment and Lange and a lot of it. There's things that happen in that game where, for me, we should not be 3-0 down to that Everton team who have won one game in about 2 months. And I think that's their first win in 3 months. Everton have been far worse than us this season. By the way, Tony, thank you for gifting a membership to the audience. Big up to you, Tony. Like when you look at this game yesterday, I don't know what you guys said. I predicted a 1-1 draw. I thought we'd draw this. I didn't think we were in good enough spirits to get a win. And David Moyes there, I thought they're going to be difficult to break down. But I watched them against Aston Villa. They actually played quite well against Villa, but Villa never deserved to win the game. Everton just couldn't put chances away. But I thought it's going to be one of them games. It'll be a draw. Mate, within 30 minutes, it was literally, it felt like, it wasn't, but it felt like Spurs, Newcastle away, Stellini's first game in charge, 6-0. That game, that's what that first half felt like. Absolutely shambolic. And it wasn't just the defending and the midfield going missing. Heung-min Son's misses were unbelievable. Like, if you look at the starting 11, Porro is our first choice right back. Kinski has looked good, and he made some really good saves as well. Dragusin, we spent 30 million on him in case the defender got injured. So he's come in to do his job. Ben Davies returned. Before he got injured, everyone was saying, oh, he's been our best defender, whilst Romero and Van der Ven have been out. Spence, people have been saying he's been our best wing-back this season. So you look at that, you don't think it's horrendous. Then the midfield, everyone's been asking for Bergvall to play, Archie Gray to play, Pape Sarr. You know, people have said, you know, he's improved. So you're thinking, all right, it lacks a bit of maturity, but these are the players everyone said we want to see in midfield. And then the front three, that's pretty much as good as it gets, other than Solanke. Kulusevski, Son, Maddison, that's the best the club's got. And on the bench, okay, it's weak. We had Richarlison and Reggie, the only recognised senior players. But then we had some good youngsters on there, Lancashire, Mikey Moore. You know, they're capable. All right, you think we'll give Everton a go, but he does this. This blew my mind away. Archie Gray, who's not a centre-back, who's played centre-back for the last 2 months, who was playing left and right back in Europe, now he's told, you're going to go into a back three. Dragusin goes into the middle of a back three. When's he ever played in a back three? And then we've got a 2-man midfield. You knew we were going to get overwhelmed in midfield because there's only 2 in there. And they ran us ragged. Porro and Spence, again, pushing up high. There's no cover. When are we ever going to learn? There was one chance in the first half, I don't know if you remember, where the ball, one long ball, wiped up the whole team. And Calvin Lewitt went in on goal. And luckily, he couldn't control the ball. It bounced off his thigh. And Kinski came out to collect the ball. That's the same tactical, fundamental failures of Ange ball that we've seen too many times. That one ball over the top. How are we going to Goodison and setting up like that? And then the excuse is, oh, but you wanted change. Yeah, common sense change. I never said go 3 at the back with Davies, Dragusin and Archie Gray with 2 kids in the middle on a high line. So one ball over the top wipes us out. When did I ever say anything like that? And the fullbacks are pushed up high. And you're thinking, every time Everton came at us, we got bullied. We were just... Do you know, at one time, I swear to God, guys, I thought that Gray and Spence were inverting from the centre-back position, and Dragusin was just there by himself. I'm thinking, are we inverting the centre-backs here? This is insane. And so, Mario, I'll come to you now. The point I'm making here is you had 2 strikers on the bench. Lancashire and Richarlison, you didn't want to start either. You went to a back three in the most insane time to do it. You're inverting players, which we know costs us. You're still playing the high line. Listen, man, injuries are a problem. And we're going to Everton with a weakened team. But did this manager tactically set up to give us the best chance? For me, no fucking way. And if you call it out, You're ignoring the actual issue. This is an issue. This is an issue. The manager is an issue. It can't be ignored. Yeah, Murray, go for it.
No, to add on to your point, and just getting rinsed by ESPN here in the stateside because you said the key thing. You started with a back three. And this is where I get back to discipline, right? We talk about the Bournemouth, we talk about the Forces, we talk about the Brighton, right? The clubs that are ahead of us and their team setup. They are disciplined, they stick to the plan. And sets us up in the back three. There was one sequence, and you mentioned this, where Gray from the center back position was inverted. It almost seemed, because it was, Sarr actually went back to play center back. There was one instance in the first half where Gray was ahead of Papa Sarr, and Sarr was back there, like undisciplined, like absolute. You are asking to get pumped by any team, even the bottom feeders. Like the discipline of this team, especially defensively, is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. This is why this man has to go. There's absolutely no excuses. ESPN is showing Sarr back where Gray is supposed to be. Why is Gray ahead of Papa Sarr? Papa Sarr is not a center back. But in this situation, he's back there playing center back because somehow Gray doesn't know where to go. He's inverted. That's chaos. That is organized chaos. You can't have that. But we're a professional club. You can't have that.
Can I ask you guys a question? Murray, can I ask you a question, okay? I just gave an explanation of what I saw. That's just my view. And we were getting opened up by Everton. And Everton haven't scored 3 goals in the first half since 1994. I mean, for fuck's sakes, people, Calvin Lewis hasn't scored since September. Oh, up rock Spurs. Hello, how are you? And what happens? Scored within 30 minutes. Hasn't scored in 16 league games, right? It was unbelievable. But the thing is, how many times this season, regarding of who's been on the pitch, what the tactics are, how many times have you seen us get carved open? How many times have we seen that?
And that's Stella, and that's why I keep saying it doesn't matter who plays in us or not. Whatever our team selection is, it just doesn't matter. We end up seeing the same types of goals scored against us. We end up seeing this, the team being utterly shambolic in terms of organisation, positional discipline.
And Maz, there's no excuses for set pieces like last year. Oh yeah, our set pieces. We've barely conceded from set pieces, so that isn't an issue anymore.
It's
true.
Just the same stuff
Only
we've talked about week in, week out. What I would have loved to have seen, especially against Everton, where they're going to be physical, especially under Moyes, right? Is why didn't he do something like this? Put Reggie left back, Davies and Dragusin as the 2 centre backs.
Yeah.
Right back, what's his name? Spence, right? Stick Kulusevski, who's physical, in the midfield, right? Maybe in that 10 position, right? Or if not, next to Pape Sarr, right? In the 2, right? And put Porro up as a forward, so he doesn't have to do as much running as what he does in his inverted fullback role. Or maybe put Maddison up forward on the left. But what I mean is he doesn't utilize the strengths of the players that he has in his squad in terms of where they can play well. And I've just identified about 5 different changes where you're playing Reguilon in his left back position where he's grew up playing, right? You're playing Spence in his natural right back position. You're playing Kulusevski in the midfield where he prefers to play. Okay, fine, it might not be a number 10, but Kulusevski is a bit of a powerhouse. He can rough it up in the middle of the park, right?
Maz,
You're supporting Sarr, right? You're then giving Bergvall an opportunity to play in the number 10 position. You're putting Madison up on the far as a left-sided forward, which he has played in the past before, right?
for
you
Leicester,
can
yeah.
then put Son as a striker, right? And you can put whoever, Porro, where he can
Maz?
play as a forward on the right-hand side. This
Right.
isn't like radical stuff.
No. It's funny you say that, Iggy. I'll come to you because I know you want to speak on this. After the game, my friend called me, Everton boy, coach as well, and he said to me, "How the fuck did you let us put 3 past you?" He goes, "Do you know how shit we are?" I said, "Mate, when we do speak, how much have I told you about this team and this manager? What have I been saying to you all season?" He goes, I couldn't believe I was watching. I said, "Well, now you know." And he goes to me, "That Porro, he's not a defender. What the fuck's he doing there? He should be up. He should be up higher up on the right," which is what you just said. And then he goes to me, "And that Dragusin fella, why do you allow him high up the pitch? Just keep him back." I'm like, I'm glad you said it as an Everton fan, who someone who's been in football for a long time. Because when we say this, we get called fake experts. So I'm glad you're saying it to me. I wish I recorded him so I could play the tape. And it's like, Maz, I agree with you. By the way, big up to Tommy, super chat. I hate my dad now because he made me support Tottenham. Screw him. I'm going Millwall now. Anyone want to join me? Tommy, listen, I understand if you want to leave Spurs. I totally get it. You can do better than Millwall, though. All right? That's what I'm going to say. You can do better than Millwall. I'm not going to stop you leaving Spurs, but not Millwall. Also, Presario, thank you for becoming a channel member. Iggy, you wanted to say something on what Maz was saying?
Listen, well, regarding Porro, how many times everyone has been saying to play further up the pitch? For me, Porro is a wing back. He should be playing so. But you know what the funny thing is? Like, I see this formation 3-3-4-3 or 3-5-2, whatever you wanna call it. And when we've had players available this season, how many times have we said, wouldn't it be great if we went to a back 3 with Romero and the Van Dragusin?
Yeah, exactly.
Have Porro and Udogi in the wing backs position, which is what they've been brought in to play. But we play in full backs, play them in that wing backs, and maybe put Son alongside Solanke so both players can support each other in that forward line, or Kulusevski, whatever you want. How many times we've had players available thinking that would be an ideal formation? We go and play it in a time where we haven't really practiced enough to get that formation going. We've kind of improvised it because we looked a little bit clueless in that first half in how and where we should be moving and how we should be moving within that formation with players who have clearly been thrown into it. So there's not enough preparation to even set us up in that way. But to do it with players like Davis coming back from a long time, he's been out for a long time, to do it with Archie Gray, who's just about got his head around playing centre back of a 4, and now he's got to play centre back as a 3. Do you see the difficulties that we're going through? And then the other thing, we're playing Hoffenheim on Thursday. Spence and Regulon are not going to be available. Why would you not play those two in the league match? Allow Porro to rest to play the Hoffenheim.
That's a good point. That's a good point, man. That's a very good point.
Why would you
Another
not do
mastermind by
Regulon was on the bench. Regulon was on the bench on the weekend for 90 minutes. He wasn't used. Spence has played. Porro, guys, the problems Porro's having, amongst a lot of problems, but one of the biggest problems which has failed to be recognised is he's played every single minute of practically every single game. He's spent,
ran
man.
them all to the ground. Iggy.
Yeah, they've run them all to the ground. So when people criticise Porro, all right, that's fair enough. He's a player, and he gets critiqued and stuff. But when he's getting slammed, you got to think this guy's playing every single game. He's not being utilised, even though if we don't have a right back available to play there, Porro has to play there. It is what it is. But when you've had Spence available, not in Europa, not in the cup, but you got him available there in the league, use him. Regulon. Give him a rest and play those two guys, because you're not going to have them available on Thursday. So for me, sometimes rotating, even when you don't have a lot to rotate with, but rotate anyway. Just and maybe, like you said, he could have been an impact player, Porro, coming on second half and playing further up the pitch where perhaps he could cause a bit more damage. He's not even a goal threat anymore. Before, he used to be always at the edge of the box, ready to unleash one. He's not even doing them anymore. So I don't know, guys. I think amongst all the shit, and some of it cannot be helped, I have to say, but other stuff that can be helped, we just add into it. And whilst I agree with you guys, man, the manager's definitely doing his bit on top of the shit that we already have, and he's adding
Oh.
to it instead of taking away and say, "Do you know, let us all look at the manager and say, "Do you know what, guys, he's doing everything he can, man. He is in the shit and he's doing whatever he can to try and alleviate the
No.
problem." And the club is the last one I'll go to. They are not doing anything right now in this month, recognizing all the issues that we're having, on top of the manager's doing what he's
They
doing,
don't give a
the
shit.
player injury.
They don't give a shit.
Exactly, they are adding to that problem
don't
by
give a
not even
shit.
alleviating the problem.
They've never
And
given a shit.
Like I said before,
They've never cared.
even with a 2 or 3 loans to come in to help us, whether you back in the manager or whether you've backed the manager or whether you don't back the manager anymore and you don't want to get rid of him right now and you want to wait till the end of the season, fine. Alleviate the problem by throwing in 2 or 3 loanees that can help us, numerically speaking, not just with numbers, but also with a little bit of quality to say, "Do you know what? Something needs to come in and galvanize the players." You're not going to change the manager. You need to get 2 or 3 faces through the door to galvanize the players, experienced players, may I add as well. Someone can say, "Do you know what? He's not playing there, but he's an experienced player. He can really help us in the dressing room."
We've
Nothing. So
I know
clubs
you're gonna.
failing, managers failing, players are failing. Players, guys, the players. Lastly, I'm going to make this last point, and then you guys can take over. The players, they are completely dejected. Their faces, the body language. I'll tell you something. If you guys
Look at
watch the
Madison.
match,
Look at Madison post-match.
he's just lost the
Someone
game.
nicked his darts.
I'd expect him to have that look. He's just lost. He's just lost. You know, 1 game out of 10.
He's lost at
we
the
haven't won.
dance.
But also, guys, if you look at there's one clip. I remember it like it was now, man. Before the game's about to kick off, there's a moment where 2 sets of players are in the tunnel. And Jordan Pickford's had the look in the corner of his eyes, having a look round. Right, I'm telling you now, man. Right from the off, the players are not looking forward to going. They're not looking like a team that's going out there to battle. So for me, these are little things that perhaps not many may not notice. But when you look at people's eyes, you look at people's faces. These players, they need something to just re-go, because right now they're not looking. The biggest thing for me, they're not looking forward to going out to playing football matches. And we need someone that comes in right now, whether it's a manager, whether we get 2 or 3 experienced players in, just to
2
say,
or
"Do you know
3
what, guys?"
players.
I'm talking about now. To
Yeah.
immediate impact.
I'm not thinking now. We're not 2 or 3 players.
We're not getting one. We're not. We need someone with a bit of energy to say, "Do you know, let's just go and play a game of football. Let's go and put your arm around someone. Say, let's go and play. Let's go and battle for 90 minutes. Let's something." And right now, the worst thing about it for a team that's heading towards relegation battle, we haven't got a fight, man. What I didn't see in that first half on the weekend, we got no fight.
All the players in the squad that had fight in them, right? I mean, this is what I keep going on about, right? He got rid of Højbjerg, he got rid of Skip, got rid of our 2 defensive midfielders.
But Skip was rubbish, man. He lost it.
He was rubbish, right? But what I'm trying to say is those
not rubbish,
players that
but
he got rid of were the same players that finished 4th under Conte, right? So whilst I agree,
Lamella would fight. Lamella used to put up the fight.
Yeah, but but hear me out. Whilst I agree that I don't feel, I'm not that aggrieved about necessarily the players leaving the club that he got rid of, because we needed to refresh the players and replace them, right? But he's done it in a completely wrong way, right? The club and him took the opportunities to offload a lot of these players rather than thinking, right, how are we actually configuring this squad? And if we do get injuries, who's going to come in and do what we need to do, right? And what's transpired is that the 2 players that we could have really done with this season, let's be honest, is Højbjerg and Skip. Even though they're not the greatest players, but they would have done the job for us. Certainly, they would have done the job for us, right? Phillips would have done a job for us if he was allowed to learn off Van der Ven, Romero, and Dragusin. If he was part of that quartet of defenders, they chose to get rid of him. Donnelly, he would have been a good option to keep around this season, judging by what's happened with the team selection. So he's made really bad calls. Spence and Regulon aren't even in the European squad, as you identified, Iggy. Why? That's nuts. Ange and the coaching staff have made an absolute dog's dinner of just managing what we already had in the squad, right? And no one can say, not even anyone in the comments can say, right, that the players that left us what would have made us any worse than we are now, right? They would have helped, right? And they're the same players that left us that managed to get us fourth in seasons gone by, fourth and fifth under Conte and Jose, right? Managers gone by. I'm not saying they're the answer. I'm just saying he's massively misplayed his hand on bringing in players, letting players go out, right? And leaving certain players in the squad while we're going through this rebuild process, like the 25th rebuild that we're going through.
What I'm seeing the most above all else as well in every game, specifically, I know it's far too easy to criticize when you're on a losing streak. In a massive losing streak we've been having of late. But the biggest thing is, man, is that there's a massive disjoint between manager and players. I don't see a connection. I don't see it. We're not synced. We're not synced. I don't see. I don't see
Doesn't coach
fight.
players, Iggy.
I don't.
Told you.
Yeah, their coaching is not there, but I don't see a fight. I can't imagine. Right, and I'm just gonna say one name. I'm not saying he has to come in, but I can imagine someone like Harry Redknapp. Right, I'm not saying the mold of Redknapp to come in, and you can just see that he would just. Someone like him will, first of all, would bring the place up a little bit. It would cheer players. It certainly lift the fans up a little bit, and also just get a team to be fighting again. And that's what you need. You need someone of his mold, whether it's Redknapp, even if he's not available, but someone like Redknapp to just come in and just regalvanize them. Because right now, the biggest problem for me, aside from the results, is the lack of fight within the team. It doesn't matter who plays, like you boys say, it doesn't matter who's playing right now in 11. It's just there isn't fight. There isn't enough belief that we can turn this around. And that for me is the biggest issue that any football team can have at this moment of the season. You guys are talking about strikers, you're talking about the guy you just brought up, that West Ham. And I'm thinking to myself, mate, I'd settle for like Delap from Ipswich. Right now, I would go and sign him to help us out with the problem. And I think someone like Delap has a lot more margins of improvement in the long run, and I think he can help us. And he'd be a perfect fit right now for the player because he has the fight in him. You can see it. I see
I just
Ipswich
don't
play.
think it matters, Iggy. I really don't.
But it's true. At the end of the day, fundamentally, the issue is it doesn't matter who comes in players-wise. Right? It's the biggest thing right now is I don't feel that there's fight within the team, and I don't think there's the Ange in this moment. For me, from what I see of him, what he does, how he prepares the team, how he puts them out, how he sets them up, we're no closer to resolving this. If anything, I see it getting worse. And that's for me right now is why we need to change it. We need to act and act quickly and act now. I know everybody's not a fan of changing manager. Listen, guys, we've all said it on Tottenham away many a times. None of us are. Do you think any of us are fans of changing manager? We've done streams on here where we've said 17 managers and counting, 16 managers and counting, 15 managers and counting. We've done so many streams about hating it, but when you have to call it for what it is, man. What can we do right now? What more can you do?
There's a caveat here because let's get on to the managers. In fact, let's just get on to the managers, right? So if we look at managers at the moment, if we compare the last three, they've all roughly played the same amount of games. Points per game, Conte wins. Win rate, Conte wins. And this is the guy that we got most toxic with and the guy we wanted out of the club as a fan base. When Conte left, they don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Tottenham's story is this. 20 years, there is the owner and they never won something. Why? This guy's at Napoli, a difficult league against the Europa Cup winners Atalanta, Inter Milan, Juventus, AC Milan, and he's 5 points clear. He lost Osimhen in the summer, and he's playing really good football. So for me, the fans need to take a long, hard look at themselves. What do you want? What is it that you want? Because we were saying things like, we've got our Tottenham back, just playing attacking football.
Daniel Levy said we got our Tottenham back.
But our fans jumped on that as well.
Yeah.
They're like, look at the football. This is the best football I've seen. Right. And Conte was a top manager. Mourinho was a good manager. He got us to a final. Okay. We hounded these people out. And them aside, right? Them aside, you then look at Iriola. He's beaten the best. Pep, Arteta, Ange, Amorim. These are the biggest clubs. He's beaten them all. 12-2 on aggregate. Look at their injury list. Look at their injury list when they played Newcastle the other day. That's 10 players out. Okay, half of them are starters.
6 youth players. They had 2 goalkeepers and 6 youth players on the bench at Newcastle.
Lee, I've got their bench. Any Spurs fan watching this show right now, which of these? I've never heard of these. Travers, Wellings, Akinombi, Winterburn, Dottin, Ajay, Jebison, Dewberry. Mate, are you telling me this bench is better than ours?
But you go to Twitter, you go to X, and it was like, oh, everybody's overreacting about Areola and how he's doing. Oh, they did what? And I'm like, they've had more injuries than us, and they're playing kids. But when you see them play, there's structure, there's discipline.
They're not wide open. They're not wide open.
There's coaching.
They're not wide open.
Who said this? The last during the injury time, right? And when Dragusin goes down, what is Ange doing? Right? You think this is the perfect time? It's about 7 or 8 minutes. He will call the players to say, "Hey guys, we're trailing 2-0. We need to get it together." No, he's just sitting there with his hand in his pockets. As the time goes, as Dragusin is down, letting time waste, not coaching. Your team is getting pumped 2-0, should be more, and you're just sitting in the sideline, just going back and forth with your hands in your pockets. As Dragusin lays down for 7 minutes, 8 minutes, does absolutely nothing, no coaching. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's just
Murray. But this is why I bring this up. These are facts. Whether you like them or not, these are facts. Yes, we've got the injuries, but this is why I then look at a manager who's spent less, who's got far less resources, who's got injury problems, who has a bench worse than ours. He goes to Newcastle and wins 4-1 against a team that's won straight 9 games. He hasn't lost in 11 games. And look, guys, it makes us look even worse the more you look into it. Look at the players he signed in the summer. Evan Nilsson, Sinestra, Unal, Hudson, Urajo, Sola, Paulson, Akiboni, Jebison. Mate, imagine we sign these players. What would happen?
Well, ironically,
look at Fulham. And Lee, look at Fulham. Because they're doing well. Look at this. Smith Rowe, Arsenal reject. Joaquin Anderson. Burge. Kuncha. Sessegnon, Spurs reject. Reece Nelson, Arsenal reject. Josh King. Look at this. These are their transfers, and they are doing better than Spurs. Yes, they don't have to play in Europe. Yes, they've got less games. But we knew this. We knew we had more games this season. I look at their transfers, I look at their bench, I look at their injuries, and I say, hold on a minute. It can't just constantly be excuses at this club. For me, guys, I saw an image on the internet, and I think this is a fair assessment.
Hold on.
Right? This is a fair assessment. He's the reason we don't win trophies. He's the reason we're 15th.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fair.
I think that's the fairest thing I've seen on the internet so far. What do you mean? Because Iggy, you're saying to me that some people say we can't keep changing managers. I would argue, looking at some of the data I've shown you, we can't keep changing managers as long as the one we've got is the right manager to back. We should have backed Poch. We should have backed Conte. We didn't. What we've done now is we've got the wrong manager, and we're trying to stick with him. And today, Ali Gold came out, and he made a comment that
it's all backwards still. It's all backwards.
Yeah, look, Ali Gold came out today. Spurs are understood to remain intent on trying to help Ange Postecoglou. And this is what winds me up. Intent on helping him, Brian Daigle sums it up. If you're intent on helping him, then stop saying it and start bringing in players, back him.
Yeah.
So nothing makes sense, man, with this whole we can't keep sacking managers. It doesn't add up. It's
but the thing is though, right? Let's say hypothetically that they do. That they're going to keep him and they're going to bring in players. Let's say in the next 10 days they're going to bring in 3-4 players. Do you really think that with Ange's talent ID and Spurs' talent ID, and judging by what they've done, right, that they're going to bring anyone who's actually going to help us, right? It's not as if when Conte was here they brought in Bentancur and Kulusevski. Who have we brought in since then? Aside from, you could say, Van der Ven,
Maddison.
right? And Maddison. What have we done? Nothing.
Right? Well, you'd say maybe Vicario, because Buffon did praise him quite a bit. I'd add him in, but that's it. Yeah, you're right. I get your point. I do get it. So a lot of kids, a lot of punts, no real experience. I get it.
The context of those signings, right, is different to the context of what Conte brought in. Conte brought in Bentancur and Kulusevski to up the levels of the existing 11 and get us into that top 4, which is exactly what those two players did. They elevated us immediately when they came in, right? Vicario, Van der Ven and Maddison was because we lost Kane, right? And they needed their marquee signing, right, to ease the pain of losing Kane, right? We had no defenders, basically, capable of defending, which is why Van der Ven came in, right? And Romero effectively down tools because he basically said, I ain't going to play with Eric Dyer and I ain't going to play with Sanchez because they're dog shit, right? And you could see it in his body language when he was playing with them, right? And Lloris was on his way out. He done his time at Spurs. So the context of why those players came in is completely different to what happened under Conte when he brought in Kulu and Bentancur. So this January, who they're going to bring in of that caliber to uplift us and save our season? I don't think they are, because no players want to bloody come to us anymore because they know what Spurs is like and they know what dodgy football Ange is playing. Who's going to want to come into his system?
There could be a situation where the Ange himself might turn around and say, again, we were speculating because we have to. We got no other. We try to read between the lines, and is it possible that also there might be a situation where Ange is saying, "Hang on a minute, I don't need anyone because I've got Van der Ven and Romero coming back end of January, so that'll be 2 players I'll be recovering, and 1 or 2 others could be making a return as well, and I don't need to have all these extra players when I've got players coming back." But again, we're speculating because we got nothing else to go by. But what I don't understand, even going back to the Everton game, but we made 2 substitutions, one at half time and for Dragusin for Richarlison, and the other one, Mikey Moore, came on the 75th minute, last quarter of the game for Papasar. But we had players like, Lancashire on the bench could, try and nick a goal, try and get us a goal. Even the young player, Young Min, was on the bench. At that point of the game, why not throw?
By the way, Iggy, he's not ready. I've been told he's not ready.
He's not ready. Well, why was on the bench there? If he's not ready, don't have him on the bench, man.
Make him
I'm sorry. Do you know what? I know you're being told he's not ready, but I'm sorry if that's coming out of Ange. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him with the youth because he's not playing the youth.
Coaches
but
told
what
me
my argument is,
I just chuck him in the game and see what he's like.
My argument is, if a player goes on the bench, he's ready to come on. That's how I see the bench, man. If he's not ready, then don't have him there. Then no one can say to him, why is he not on it? If he's not on the bench, that means he's not ready. Then I'll agree with you. But if people are saying he's not ready and yet he's on a bench, what is he there for, man?
No, I agree with you, Iggy. I agree with you. I totally agree.
And you're telling me this guy, even if he ain't ready, he can't handle 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
But Jordan in the comments, right? And I'm sure he's saying this with a little bit of jest. He goes, "Is Reggie not ready too?" I would say that's a legitimate point, right? You're telling me Reggie, who has got experience playing in the Premier League and various clubs around Europe, can't come in now we're suffering with injuries and do a job?
Even more
And
so
then-
for the reason that he can't play in Europe. That's why I thought to myself, he's got to
Precisely.
play
Right?
that.
And then why not then,
against
seeing as Gray's been
Everton.
in the team, seeing as seeing as Gray's been in the team for the last 10 games or so, why not then give him the opportunity to actually put him in that DM role? Right? But no, it doesn't. It's
Maz, you were 100% correct saying that Ange is either a liar or the master puppet, because you hear the post-game comments after the game, you hear about the transfers. This guy says everything that Daniel Levy wants to hear. You got to remember, Conte spoke honestly, the truth. It made some of the happy clappers cringe. It made the board cringe. And now Ange, in his latest interviews about the squad and the recruitment, it is just all PR. It is all in line of what Levy wants to do. And that's another reason why this guy has to go. It's the reason why they kept him longer. Because if it was any other manager with a backbone, they would be speaking. They would be like, can you imagine Conte in this situation? Oh, I mean, it wouldn't even get to this point. And he would have left and everything would have burned down. And it's like the Titanic is going down, and he's the violin player that's still playing. Like, it's not good. It's not going down. Nothing to see here. You know, everything's okay. Like, yeah, I want this guy out of my club, man. I have not been so depressed in my life in regards to Spurs.
Well, Mari, do you remember when the fans were telling us, "Oh, if Ange doesn't get his way, he's just going to walk"?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is the perfect time to walk. Isn't this the perfect time?
Where are those fans? Do you know what? Do you know whenever we used to win like 3-0 at Man United, 4-0 at Man City, beat Villa? Do you remember the chat used to get flooded with all these Angesexuals, these cult followers, and all these other Spurs fans from the UK that just hated on us? They've all disappeared the last 4 or 5 weeks. It's like gold dust finding one of them now. Anyhow, we knock Liverpool out the cup and they turn up. I'm blocking everyone. I'm gonna block them all, man. It's almost like, do you know what? Someone here said it just now. Here it is. Look, Patrick. I won't lie. I got sucked in by Ange big time. I loved him, but now I realise
think a lot of us.
and I think
did
that's
that,
what's
man.
happened to most fans. If we're going to be
Us
honest
included,
about it.
though. I'll be honest with you. I was there.
You were clapping
You know
hard.
what?
You were. You and Matt.
but
You
we're-
and Matt.
admit it as well.
Now, come on, you liked Ange. Don't bother saying you didn't like Ange. You liked Ange when you
They
first.
win the league after 10 games.
Mate,
remember?
You liked
But
Ange
what
as
I
well when
said-
you first won.
No. Yeah. Look, what I said was,
We
you're
all
right. Iggy,
did.
you're right. Iggy, you're right. What I said was in the beginning. I can't believe a coach this quickly has got us moving the ball the way Ange did. And it was that first pre-season. I said, I've coached for a while. That is super impressive, because he had Ben Davies doing it and others. And I said, that is impressive. And then when we got rid of Harry Kane before the season started, I said, I'll give Ange a whole season, right? He gets a pass from me, because no manager's taken over losing their best player at the start of the season with no replacement,
Best
especially
striker in the world, man.
especially when we were a so-called top 4 regular club now. And I gave him that season. So yeah, it's fair to say, come on, Stel, you were. I was. But
By the way,
when I
there's
saw
nothing
that-
wrong with that. By the way, there's nothing
yeah,
wrong
of course
with that.
not.
We was all
Of course
pumped.
not. Yeah, a lot of fans got excited by it. But when that transfer window happened, that's when we as a channel start saying, hold on, this is a yes man. This is the patterns of failure from the past. This is a puppet. This can't be happening. And what it's manifested into is our worst. Well, it's what we said would happen, and it's become a nightmare now. So I feel for Patrick and everyone else that got sucked in. So the question is, what do we do now as a fan? If we don't believe him,
Stowe, do you know where? Do you know where? Do
how can
you
you
know
back this guy
where?
anymore?
Do you know when he lost me? I'll tell you when he lost me, and that for me to lose me as a manager, because I'm the most patient one out of
Well, he
everyone
put
here.
9
Sorry.
players on the halfway line against Chelsea.
No. Well, that was crazy stuff. But for me, I'll tell you when he
It's
lost me.
never been seen before.
When he lost me, and he would have lost me whether I've been a player, as a fan, anywhere. He lost me when we won at Man City, which was great. I thought that was great. Everything was great. Everything was spot on. And remember, we had a conversation. It was me, you, Dan was in the stream. I can't remember who else was in the stream. And I said, we will know, or I will know, in the next 4 matches. We did it on a post-match stream at Man City. We will know in the next 3. I would know in the next 3 or 4 matches what happened tonight at Man City and the way we played, where our fullbacks weren't inverted, we played a bit back, and everything else seemed to work. Everything that we wanted. We played a proper away match. We played, solid at back. We dropped the high line a little bit, and we played our fullbacks in the way that we should be playing our fullbacks. I said, if in the next 3 or 4 games, what happened? If he takes anything from tonight and then the way we played, even if it's stuff that he doesn't agree with, but he saw that it worked for the team, and he doesn't implement that in the 3 or 4 next games. Then everything that happened tonight was just an absolute fluke. And what did he do? In the next 1, 2, 3 games, he reverted back to the way he was, the way he went. And I thought to myself, you know what? He didn't set up. He just had. That was that was an outcome of circumstances of how we went. We played against Man City. It wasn't because he set up like that. It was just a circumstantial situation. Because as soon as he had the opportunity to revert back to where he did that in the next following 3 or 4 games. And for me, that's when I agree with one of the comments just brought up now. That's when he lost me too. He lost me there because I thought to myself, this guy hasn't taken anything on board, even when he got a massive result against a Man City, a bad Man City, by the way, but still a Man City away. He fucked it all up within the next 2 or 3 games. He couldn't continue. He couldn't even keep the things that worked that night to say, you know what, maybe this worked for the team. Also, the players themselves, when you see something that works and then you change it back to the way perhaps they're not even happy doing, then you're like, what's the point? And that,
To be fair, Iggy,
lost me.
To be fair, as much as we did support Ange for a season, or some of us did for a whole season, some half a season, all of us, and I think we were the only channel in the end that backed Conte. Like, we stood with Conte to the end, and we said, "Don't do this. This is the guy to back." Yeah, I think more so Conte though, because I think we felt, if I remember, Jose was a winner, but he was coming to that end of his kind of cycle, whereas Conte was still relevant, and he's proving it right now. He was still
with Conte.
There's another 10 years in the guy.
This is what my personal take on Conte was this. All right, and I was at the games. I was going to the Spurs games a lot at home when Conte was there, and I was saying this at some points of the games, some point of the season in those games, I was bored for a lot of it. I was bored of what I was watching, and I didn't enjoy the way I didn't enjoy our football for long periods of times. And you can say for many reasons, the players that we had and blah 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 and whatever, and even the way his style of management in terms of how he likes to play football. For me, for long periods, I was bored of it. But I did say this: if he is backed and is given the time, 2 or 3 seasons, which he doesn't stay more in any club more than 3 or 4 seasons. Anyway, it doesn't. If we give him everything that he needs to do his job for the next 2 or 3 seasons, he will bring success at Spurs. He will bring trophies at Spurs. It's what he does, man. You just have to say, you know what? I'll put up with the shit football, but bring me trophies. And that's where my head was at. But I did say this to Stell, and I said it to a lot of people that were when we got him. I said, though, if any which way or form this guy is not backed or he gets mugged off by any owners, and he did it at Juve, man, against his boyhood club in the team that he loves. As soon as he got mugged off, he wasn't backed anymore. He called every single one of them in that Juve board out. He called the Agnelli family out. He called everyone out, and he left in pre-season. He said, "I'm done here. This job is not for me anymore." And he walked out in pre-season. As soon as that, and I said to Stell, if we don't do what he wants us to do, if we don't back him in the way he wants, so he's not supported, he will leave. He will blow shit up on his way out. I told him as soon as we signed him that's what he will do, and that's exactly what ultimately I knew it was going to happen anyway.
And he gave us the best 10 minutes that we've ever had from a manager, exposed the whole board and everything.
I'm
But
gonna
that's
say,
Conte.
speak.
But he does that. He's done that everywhere. He's done
I'm
it
gonna say,
everywhere.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this again because that's when I was just started streaming. What got me to start streaming was when they got rid of Jose. And I'll say this, and I'll say this again. Jose wanted defensive reinforcements. Instead, we brought in Joe Roden and we brought in Gareth Bale. The offense had no problem that season.
And Doherty, we got Doherty.
And that season, our offense didn't really have a problem because this is when the connection between Sonny and Kane was born. We lost games, high scoring games. And if you can look at that, yeah, we scored a lot of goals. We drew with West Ham. We're up 3-0. West Ham came back to score 3 goals, 3-3. The Chelsea game in the cup, Everton was like 5-4. It was.
Oh, that was chaos at Goodison Park. That was insane. That was insane, that game.
But the key thing was defense. Because I'm gonna say it again. Still to this day, 2025, the latest that we were in first place in the Premier League, Jose Mourinho. We had just beat Arsenal 2-0 in November. December, we were in first, right? That was the Steven Bergwijn game, right? Against Liverpool, where he missed. Right?
Yeah.
Still to this day, for all those who say trust football with Jose, he had us in first in December scoring goals. That season, our problem was the defense, and he asked, bring me Skinner. Instead, we're like, no. We'll just give you Joe Roden, and we'll make the fans happy with Gareth Bale. It was nice to feel back. He didn't really need Gareth
But
Bale.
it wasn't just him. Conte asked for defensive cover. He wanted Bastoni, and we got him Longley.
Yeah, but Bastoni was a harder get.
It's who we are, mate. It's who we are, mate.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And we turned on the manager.
And when I debate with people about Jose, I said, still to this day, in the Premier League era, Jose had us in first in December. Still to this day, it is the latest that we've been in first place. Facts.
We're not interested in in succeeding, man.
Can I go now? Because I've been
quiet. Yeah, Lee. 2 super chats, then Lee, say as much as you want. Tommy, what's worse, Angie's tactics or Stell's DJ career? I didn't actually have a DJ career. I hate Marmite. Big up Tottenham Away, the only real channel that speaks the truth. Thank you so much. There's a few more as well. Marmite, there's a few more as well. By the way, Tommy, I'm going to go with my Angie's tactics or worse. Yeah, Lee, go for it, bro.
Listen, I might start spitting some facts and things that people don't like, right? But
stats and truths.
They are truths. And someone in the chat's not going to like this.
Hang on, can we have a little board, little slogan at the bottom of the screen saying stats and facts?
Yeah, of course we can.
Yeah,
go for
press record, hit the red button.
Be ready to clip it, guys.
Get ready. There is a reason.
Boom.
Stats and facts.
Boom.
Ange Postecoglou and his managerial career has been 28 years. That's a hell of a long managerial career, right? He's never, ever been scouted by any top league in Europe or UK, right? Spain, Italy, etc., etc. Even though he's got this big persona behind him, everyone bigs him up. We were sold a manager based purely off his statistics from Celtic, nothing more. When you go back and look over his career, and I'm not going to take saying that I looked this up because someone else posted it, but you see a pattern. His overall win rate so far in his managerial career is 53%. That is kept that high for 2 reasons. A, Celtic, where no manager really does bad in that league, and the under-20s Australian youth team. If you take those out, his win rate is around about 47 to 48%. That is not a good manager, right? That's an average manager at best. And he was never the first choice. So all of this bringing him in and all of this was all covered over by his stats at Celtic. But we're all in agreement that pretty much most managers that go there, they get what they want. They've got really good team anyway, and they pretty much blow everyone out of the water every year. So it's a 1 or 2 league team. Simple as that. I've got 3 things that I would do to change right now, which I think wouldn't change us from a top 4 team or whatever, challenging for anything, but I think will give us good runs in the cup, etc. To change what he's doing to make us more consistent, and they're really, really simple. Number 1, stop taking your training sessions like you're playing a 90-minute game every day. Because even this athletic Adonis can't play 3 games a week and then be 100% on a Saturday. All right? It's just not possible. And that's why we're getting so many injuries. 2, drop your defensive line 10, 15 yards. Right? That's all it needs. Stop playing this stupid high line. And 3, stop inverting these goddamn these fullbacks, because it's driving me nuts. You only have to look at any of our games where we play from the back, freeze frame it when either not most of the time nowadays it's actually one of the centre backs that's playing it to the goalkeeper rather than the goalkeeper playing it to the centre back. Right, so we're starting off in our 6-yard box. You then leave that for 2 or 3 seconds, take a freeze frame on any match that's being played, and have a look at how overrun we are in front of our centre backs from the other team. Our fullbacks are basically creating a 5 across the front, right, which is absolute madness. We only then have 1 midfielder in the midfield areas in our own half, and that's why we get turned over so much. You look at the likes of Man City, etc. Vardio doesn't do it. Kyle Walker doesn't do it. They offer space out on the wings to transition the ball to the forwards. It doesn't work, and this is why the tactics are a problem. And the last thing I will say is James Maddison, as we've all said and as other people said, is being scapegoated by a lot of the fans. I don't think he's in any way, shape or form invested in Ange Ball, right? And I'll tell you why. Because as much as people say, oh, he doesn't do anything, etc., he's not playing really well. You watch when he picks up the ball. Go back to any of our matches where he's playing. You watch when he picks up the ball. His first thought is 1 or 2 things. If he's got a player on him, he's either looking for a way around him, right? That's his first thought. And second thought, once he's done that, he looks up and he looks for those passes like he used to do at Leicester and stuff like that. The problem he's got is he does that. He gets the ball. You watch him. He'll look up and he'll just be like, he'll be there like this going, what the hell is going on? I've literally just got a wall of people in front of me. I've got fullbacks. I've got forwards. Absolutely everyone's static in a line. No one's moving out. He's completely and utterly strangled by this manager's tactics. He can't flourish. He can't be productive. And where he's been more productive more than any time is when he's getting those balls on the edge of the box and he's crossing in to the back post and stuff like that. That's been fruitful. But he's being told not to do that. That's not how Ange plays. So honestly, watching someone which we know can influence a game being basically strangled and not being able to make a pass, and then other people saying, oh, well, it's because he's not very good. I'm sorry, it's not. It's just simply the way that we set up and the fact that when he gets that ball, he's got absolutely no output to go to anyone. Because I think over the last 18 months, we've won our build up from the back. We've been in one of the most static teams I've ever seen in my life. No one gets into space. No one runs. It's almost like they're just standing there waiting for the ball. And that first half at Everton, I swear to you, it was like watching my 9-year-old, or not even that. Even at 9-year-olds, they were getting into space and stuff. It's like watching 6-year-olds just running around all after the ball. There was just cohesion in that.
Did you even know where anyone was playing after about 25 minutes? I couldn't.
I didn't have a clue. I could not work it out.
I couldn't figure out what the hell we were doing.
I couldn't work out if we were playing with a 3 at the back. I couldn't work out if we were playing a 4 at the back, and Gray was playing in midfield. But then the whole point, and I sent everyone a message saying, "Oh my God, I'm pretty sure the centre backs are inverting." And then I thought, no, that can't be. Maybe Gray is playing in midfield, and that's why he's in that area. But then 2 seconds later, he was literally at the back with Dragusin right next to him. I was like, no, he's playing centre back. And my mind was blown. I mean, the only positive I would say that he did change it in the second half and he went more to traditional. Although Everton sat back and we had a lot more possession, but that first half I had no idea what was going on. I'd have more chances of completing a Rubik's cube in 45 minutes and working out what
Lee,
formation we were playing.
Lee, you saw that. The pundits see that. ESPN, Sky even show you images about that. Why there's some of our fan base that just can't overcome that. I understand the injuries, but you're seeing evidence. You're seeing evidence of just chaos in our fan base. Like, I don't want to say this guy's name on Twitter, but like you like I'll say Simon Yemen, and I'm going back and forth cordial, and I'm like, dude, why can't you can't see that we're being exposed like that? Like, you see the chaos. Like, are you blind? Like,
Murray, do you know what I don't get?
Is it pride?
Murray,
like,
do you know what I don't get? It's not that there's fans that think Ange should stay and that Ange is actually really good, and it's just the injuries, and that if you give him a chance, he'll come good. That's not the bit that I can't understand. I get why some fans would want to keep him. I disagree with them massively. What I don't get is if you so badly want Ange to stay and you're pointing the finger at things that are out of his control, why aren't you taking action against Levy and Enoch? Why aren't you protesting? Why aren't you boycotting? Why aren't you trying to get some kind of movement going to demand that this board behaves in the right way for a manager for once? That's the bit I don't get with this lot. They want to sit there banging away on Twitter saying, oh, it's the board, it's injuries, it's not Ange's fault. Fine. So why aren't you going after the problem? That's the bit that I will never understand with fans. A bit like people that say Levy out and then they don't do anything. They just say it. Yeah, Levy out. Just, as if it's like it's saying good morning, Levy out.
And do you know what the problem is as well? Still, is that there are channels that, as I said, that the whole the whole transfer talk on Tottenham, every transfer window is they literally, most of these media guys just put stuff out there just for the fact of a story, because we know and we've been told from internally that the director of football does not play his cards. He keeps everything under his breath. He doesn't let anything slip. So it's all make up. It's all make believe. I mean, at the end of the day, Skriniar on loan to us, 15th in the Premier League. Don't think so. Somehow he's got he thinks more of himself than that. But the other problem with it is that literally Ange himself at his post-match press conference yesterday said there are no imminent signings coming in.
There you go.
End of story. That's come from the manager. So you either believe him or you believe all these ITKs and that, which are going, oh yeah, we're in for him, we're in for that. No, I'm sorry. I don't take any of those stories as being true.
No,
it's absolute rubbish.
I think exactly.
But there's giving people hope. That's what I think is a lot of these supporters that are still backing him's coming from. But I've been a stern believer. It doesn't matter about if you bring players in. They're not going to automatically make these tactics work. You bring Skriniar in. He's not going to all of a sudden be doing 35-mile-an-hour runs back because we're playing on the halfway line.
He's not that player.
What do you think is going to happen?
That player. He's not that player. He's a similar sort of mould of Dragusin. If you put him in a high line,
do you know who you need? Hold on, Liggy. I'll tell you what. I've got it. The perfect Ange system defensively. You need 4 Kyle Walkers. There you go. That's it. Your defence is done.
Yeah,
he's available right now.
Well, he is. Yeah, you got 4 Kyle Walkers, and no one's ever rounding you, right?
But,
and you're getting back.
Isn't the point of when you're choosing a player with certain characteristics? Isn't the point of the matter is exposing their strengths, not their weaknesses? And what we are doing with our players, we're exposing them for something that they're not. We're exposing.
So no one wants to buy them.
No, but we're exposing them. We don't have. We don't have the characteristics, even currently, even with Van der Ven's there and Romero's there. okay, that's one thing. But when you've got Archie Gray and you've got Dragusin, they even Ben Davies that we really rushed back to play, mate, and you're still proceed with this. It's just insanity, man. It's just not normal, and that's why I'm thinking like. Is it like this guy's just no longer thinking straight anymore? Is it because he's under? They can see it in a post match, when he's asked the first question he was asked, he responded. Look, he looked at the person and say, "Oh, great way to start an interview." It was just like, it's just an absolute mess, man. And that's why I just think to myself, where you know what? Someone said to me a long time, it can't always rain. It has to some point. The sun has to come out, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to look at angles from and different ways to see where this can turn and how it could turn. Whatever happened to that? You know what, guys? Back to basics. 4-4-2. Let's start with this principle and build from that, and then we can slowly, once everyone starts getting a bit of confidence back, we can slowly implement the changes to the way that we should be playing. But right now, man, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And I'm just thinking, where's this injection, much needed injection, gonna come from right in this moment?
And Levy ain't giving him any money in January. I'm sorry. Even
No,
if
so
he
I'm
says
thinking
he's
the club,
safe,
the
We'll get a
club's doing
last
their
minute
thing.
loan deal. We'll get a last minute
club-
loan deal. Some random player.
The club's doing their thing. The manager's doing his thing. The players, I don't know whether they're coming or going. The fans, listen, for me, the fans, other than we're not going to change the ownership in this second or anything like
Not
that.
with our fan base. Biggie, not with our
but
fan base.
the thing is, you okay? If you're a season ticket holder, you miss more than 3 games, and if you don't sell your ticket, and there's no bums on seats,
That's not true. That
you
3 game rule is not true, by the way. It's not true. There's
Do
a
we know
limit.
that for a fact?
Yeah. I
All
looked
right,
into it.
let's
It's not
just say
3
you.
games.
Let's just say
I would have been kicked out 2 years ago.
No, but what I'm saying, let's just say a fan decides I'm not going to I'm not my bum on seat or anyone's bum seat is
Mhm.
not going to go. No, my seat is not going to be used. I'm not going to sell my ticket and I'm not going to go. How long can you do that before they kick you out?
Well, so that works, but only if a huge majority do it simultaneously. Because if 100 fans do it, the club will say, "Fuck you, we'll get rid of you."
But
But
the whole point,
if
so
20,
you can
30,000 do it, the club's
so,
got a big problem.
so
So
even though
it's got to be numbers.
even though you've bought your ticket and you have every right to do whatever you wish to do, you've given the money for your ticket.
Hmm.
You can't protest that towards the club even by doing that for a long period of time. You can only do it for a little amount of time, and then
I think we should go in the stadium, but we should protest in
Walk
the
out.
stadium.
A walkout. I said this the other day.
no.
Yeah,
Do you know
walk
what?
out.
Do you know?
Yeah.
You got,
That's what
why
Liverpool
not?
fans
No,
do, yeah.
all you have to do, Murray. All you have to do is turn your back. Turn your back towards the pitch.
Even better, a walkout. If there was ever a day, if there was
No,
ever
you
a
don't need to do that. Just turn around.
Our
TV,
fans aren't doing any of this. Our
Sky
fans aren't
Sports,
doing any of this.
30th minute, right? Or you pick a minute, the 25th minute, and the fans just go out the door.
Murray, they won't do it. Murray, they won't do it. Believe me, they won't do it.
I would never
They
happen.
won't do it.
If that
won't
was
do it.
ever to happen, that's even better than an airplane banner flying over the stadium.
Our-
You can walk out at half time. You can walk out on the 75th minute. You can walk out with 10 minutes to go. You can walk out. You can just as long as it's a mass walk out.
the only thing that's worked that I've seen work was when Conte was there. It began when we had El Sakiko and it was Nuno versus Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We lost 3-0. That was the first time large sections of the stadium chanted, "We want Levy out, get out of our club, Daniel Levy."
What was the point? What was the thing that? Do you remember what was the thing that made them do that?
We were losing, and the football
Not
was
as
shit.
bad as now.
No, it's not as bad as now. But this time, what's different is Ange has given fans a glimmer of hope with that 10-game unbeaten run and these random wins. We beat Liverpool in the first leg of the Carabao Cup.
We go out of the cups, it'd be completely different. In my opinion.
Iggy, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure because in the state, listen, we were 5-1 down to Liverpool and we were singing the manager's name. As soon as Mourinho went 1-0 down in the cup, the stadium turned toxic. There's this love for Ange that I've never seen before. And that's why it's called a cult. He can do no wrong. He could literally knock on your front door, shit inside your house, smile, and you'd sing his name. That's kind of what's going on at the club now. He can do no wrong, this guy. I don't know why it's like this. And I think it's because he did beat Liverpool in the first leg of the cup. He did go to Man City and win 4-0. He did go to the Emirates last season and get a 2-2 draw, and we played really well. He kind of does this one thing, and it buys him 2 months. He does one thing, he buys him. It's crazy. And we ignore 85% of the absolute shocking performances, results, management that we see. It's like he's got to do 15, 20% good, but because that good is against a big team or a really exciting moment, fans just seem to cling on to it. I've never seen it before. It's almost like we're possessed. Maybe Ange is a poltergeist.
Reeman's son just put in the chat, Ange is like Trump. Well, listen, I'm not into politics, but
Trump
what
wins.
I've been told, Trump's did a really
Trump
good job
wins.
in his 4 years. Yeah,
Trump
he wins. He gives the people what they want.
Can I bring up something that I wanted to talk about actually as well? In the first half of the game against Everton, there was 2 really good moments. One where Son hit a shot, and he's literally quite casually put it in the goalkeeper's hands, where the old Son buries that. And there was this moment where he was set through, and rather than taking the shot, he just delayed, and the player got the tackling on him. And you looked at it, and it was just further proof of this whole argument. Son's washed out. Son's finished. What the hell? After the game, the players attempted to go over to the fans and clap the away fans or to say sorry. There's a couple of security there, so that just goes to show what they think of us. Yeah. When you turn up with security detail, what must they think of us, right? But this happened. I want to play the video, and I want to talk about what you think. Right. So my question is this: that should never ever happen, right? That's over the top. There's being angry and frustrated, and that's over the top. We shouldn't be, especially if that was directed to Son, who has been unbelievable for us for 9 solid years. Okay, we know he's fading, but was that directed to Son? Was that directed to Ange? Or was that directed to the squad? Because that never happened until Son went over and it triggered it. What do you think happened there? But whatever did happen, that's ridiculous. That as much as I want Ange out and I want most of these players out and Levy and all that for me, that was wrong. But what do you think triggered that? Who was that directed to?
I mean, for me, it was the frustration of going up to Everton, however long a drive it is to get up there. 4+ hours to get there from London to Liverpool, and having to do that same return journey back 4.5 hours back, 5 hours back, depending where you're traveling from. So frustration, a really poor first half, which for me the game was done at half time. Very difficult to recover a 3-0 down, even more so in the condition that we're in. So there would have been a long time to fester that inside angst, anger. So when the players and the manager go over, man, for me personally, and I saw this happen, was it at Bournemouth where Postecoglou went over and he got absolutely abused, like with swear words. And I think that for me, because I saw Son, but I saw Postecoglou right next to him. So I think the anger is more towards him. Of course, the players are going to get stick as well. So I felt, whilst I can't completely exclude that was also Son's included. I don't see Son's a player as well. Why would he not be included? But I think that was more towards the manager more so than Son himself. Even though, like I said, I can't exclude that wasn't directed at him as well, being one of the players. But but what can you do, man? As captain, you go over, you put your hands up, and you take it. And unfortunately, he's there. He's got to take it. And the fans are angry. I agree. It's unacceptable to use, to call him a wanker and stuff like that. But when you're angry and you're that emotionally invested, it's very hard to control yourself. How many times have we all been angry and emotionally invested in someone? We say stuff that we don't in the moment you wouldn't normally normally say any other time, but in that moment anything goes, man. You're better off just going over there, brave applaud, turn around and go, because you know what you're going to get if you stand there. But to be fair to him, Son stood there, even though he stood there and he took it.
Well, he started crying after. He turned and cried.
He's listen. Son is emotionally. I know he's a player. I know he gets paid a lot of money and all of that, and he's got all this stuff. And I agree with all of that. But no one cannot tell me for a minute that Son is not invested in Tottenham Hotspur. I refuse to believe a player that's been at a club for 10 years. He's not emotionally invested.
He loves the club.
And
Graham makes a good point as to why it
I agree,
might
Graham. I just said it. I think it's to go there to see that.
It's a 5-hour journey home from London.
It's a lot. It's a lot. To 5 hours to get there, 5 hours to come back.
On that subject, I think today Mido done an interview. Ramon Vega done an interview on Sky Sports.
Mido's was very good, actually.
And yeah, Mido's was very good. But Vega's been really good as well in his interviews. All right. And they basically effectively said the same things as what we've said on this channel. But what struck me about it was that why are those two players specifically the only ones? One, right? Okay, Vega. Well, I think he won something with Spurs, didn't he? But one, they weren't the most liked players at Spurs. In fact, that we made fun of them back in the day for how poor they were in comparison to their peers at the club. But they've left. They were by no means legends of Spurs at all. But they've left the club. They love the club. They've become fans of the club. Right, they know that the club's got history and it's special, hence why they're fans of the club, and they're the only ones, right, who's come out and said the truth, and effectively they're demanding more of Tottenham Hotspur and saying yes, it's the owners. All they care about is money. They don't care about winning. They don't care about the history of the club. They don't care about the football side of things. Yet all of our other legends, they're all so scared to speak out about the club that let's face it, built them or made them who they are today, right? I just think, and for what? What? Because they're worried that they're not going to be able to go and watch a game of football.
Probably more likely, because listen, I've heard these old legends. I won't name them. But legends of the club that have been legends, in the 80s and all of that. They all know what the issues at the club are. They all know because they do their legends conversation. I've been to them.
No, so I go to their, I've spoken to them in private settings as well.
They have told us. I've spoken to them directly.
Yeah, but
they have told me
publicly, Iggy.
Publicly, they won't do that.
Yeah, but why not?
Because it affects their livelihood. I
don't believe that for a second.
Why they're not? Okay, then ask yourself why they're not doing it publicly. Then why they're not doing it?
Why? Because they're getting some perks and they don't want to lose their perks, right? It's not their livelihood. Come on,
I mean, livelihood. They're either working. Some of these guys are even pundits or commentators, and it affects what they do there. Perks because they go to the ground, or they get perks at the club, or they get paid.
They're not fans of the club, then, are they? Then they're not fans of the club again. No, hold on. Personal interest.
Okay, I agree with you, Maz. I'm not disagreeing with that part, but I'm saying that when you put your personal interest ahead of what's going on at the club, you're right. You're thinking about yourself more so than the club that you claim to love. Players like me, though. Mido and this other guy, what's his name? What was the other one? Vega.
Ramon Vega,
They don't get nothing out of the club, so they can say whatever they friggin' want.
Like I said, and you guys can answer this, and maybe in the chat. Like I said, I'm across the pond where teams, clubs are not as close with the media, and so you could bash clubs. Media could do it. From what I see especially in England, like I said before, it seems that there's a close relationship with the media and with the clubs. And I hear from interviews, even the guy who's always on Talk Sports, what's his name, has said that they have been silenced by Daniel Levy. Like Daniel Levy has that clout, he has that power to like literally excommunicate, pundits and athletes out, like literally. And so I'm like asking you guys,
Murray, do you remember what happened to Jamie O'Hara? Do you remember that time when he spoke out?
What they should do, if they had any morals and balls about them and defend their club they love, is they should all get together and speak out upon it and say that he's acting like a dictator and an authoritarian idiot. Right, and
guys, I can answer this question.
And all that sort of stuff.
Guys, I can answer this question. Guys, I can answer this question. When we first started the channel, I don't know how we did it. We were a tiny little thing. We had an ex-Spurs player on the show, and it was one of the most eye-opening conversations where he described what it was like playing in the 80s, winning trophies with Spurs, and to what it's become now. And you could feel the love he had for Spurs. It was different to us. Like
he still has that love for Spurs.
He still has it, and you could feel it. Off air, I asked him some questions, right?
You know that.
And I said,
that was the real conversation there, mate. Off air.
He did say to us, "Look, I can't do it on air." And I asked him, why don't you lot do anything about it? And this is what he said to me. They've already changed the names of some of the lounges so that their history doesn't exist there in the corporate. They've already made it difficult for them as ex-legends of the club. And he said, if they were to speak out, they lose the lot. And at their age and their stage of life, this means a lot to us. To not be able to come here where we played and won trophies is heartbreaking stuff. I kind of get it. I kind of got it. I think if they were younger, a Ramon Vega, a Mido, fuck it. I've got loads of years to live. I'll say what I want. I think it's an age thing, Maz. But then what contradicts that is you get a Glenn Hoddle who goes on TNT Sports saying Levy would sack himself. Like he goes in and you're thinking, well, hold on a minute. I'm a bit conflicted with this. I kind of agree with Maz, but I get where Iggy's coming from as well. I'm somewhere in the middle on this, and I'm never in the middle. I always take a proper side.
Look,
but when you speak to a legend,
they're gonna look. Go on. Still, right? They're gonna get to God forbid, right? And I hope this, it's not anytime soon. But they're gonna get to their last few years of life, right? And if this continues, this run that the club is going on, this dark path that we're going down, right? I'm not talking about relegation. I'm just talking about long-term success at Spurs, right? They're going to go to their deathbed knowing that they never spoke up at a moment when they could have done something to change, right? Or wake people up to what was happening at Spurs, right? And they're going to take that to their deathbed. Right.
It's hard to give a shit against this ownership, though.
Yeah, but they take their grandkids to the games. They get, they
support what still? It's not Tottenham they're supporting, are they?
To support the club.
We're not Tottenham anymore. They've trampled over our history. They're not supporting Spurs anymore, are they?
But it's also social for them. They get to meet their old teammates and whatnot.
Well, then fucking play golf. Go to the pub.
It's hard. It's real hard. If they always say the athlete, right? For any sport, the hardest thing for
play golf.
Wait. And I work in as a counselor in the mental health field. They said the hardest thing for an athlete is post post, retirement. And for them, stay around the club, stay around other athletes is so important to them because a lot of them go into depression, a lot of them have a mental breakdown, whatever. And so it's and I can understand both sides of it because it's like, okay, if I lose access to Tottenham and access to see my former teammates and whatsoever, you know, man, you're alone. But I see Mass's point where it says, well, if your life is Tottenham and you love Tottenham, then you have to be disgusted and hate what Daniel Levy and the board is doing to your Tottenham. And so I get that. It's really a tough thing. It's just, okay, are you willing to lose access to Tottenham and all the relationships and the benefits that come with it? But then you want to stand on principle that, hey, this is not a football club. This is now a corporation. This is now a cash cow, real estate, entertainment, company. So, I mean, it's really tough.
It's such a difficult one because if I was a Spurs legend and I'd won European titles, FA Cups, been part of the history of the club where every fan knows my name, and I couldn't have access to that, and that was my life, I'd be heartbroken. But at the same time, if I wanted my club to be my club again, I probably would fight for it. So I do get you, Maz, but it's such a difficult one.
Until you're put into that predicament.
It's a tricky one.
We even with us online,
I do agree with you, Maz. I do.
We're not footballers or ex-footballers or anything like that, or have that ties with a club, other than the fact that we support it. But even in our small little bit here, right, that we do here, you ask yourself, why is it we do what we do? If we're going to get pissed off every time we watch Tottenham, which is what we are all doing right now, some of them's like him over here says he doesn't feel nothing. And to be honest with you,
it's true.
To be honest with you, the thing is, in yesterday's match, I said this off air. Yesterday, I was watching the match, first half, scrolling through my phone, watching it, seeing the first goal go in, second goal in, third goal in. I didn't even get pissed off because I was like, it's just like, what am I seeing today that I haven't seen for the last 5-6 matches?
Yeah, that was me 3 months ago.
Let me finish. So now I'm understanding what he's saying a lot more. It's like when he says, "I feel nothing." I've got there. It's taken me a lot longer, but I've got there to say I'm not even feeling the pain of being conceded the first goal, the second, and then we come on here on a Monday night. We have a little chat, and we even said in the stream, the beginning of the stream. What is that we're saying today that we haven't said for the last previous 5-6? Why do we carry on doing this? Because we're seeing the same shit over and over again. So we're doing this. But then hang on. We don't have any affiliation with the club. So we can say whatever we fucking want. We can say exactly what we want in this stream, which is why I like to think a lot of people watch us for, because we say how we believe it is. You may agree and disagree, but we will give you our versions, our truth, and then one can argue it. It's open for debate. Other channels who have the similar sort of situation where the ex-players that go to the club cannot all say the same thing. So, but why? Because they have, I said it earlier on, they have personal interests. They can't say everything they wish to say, even though they probably agree with everything that we say,
then
because
they're not
they
fans
think
of the
it.
club then. They don't care. They're not fans of the club.
One day this channel here may be put to that test as well, and then we have to decide, what do? We do carry on telling the truth, or do we say,
we got the war, man?
No,
we're taking to war.
Sacrifice your morals. You don't ever sacrifice your morals and truth telling because of financial
I know
gain.
that.
You don't sacrifice yourself for that, and that's my overall point. When I see other channels, right? When I see other channels say, for the love of the club, we do this, blah, 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 and all that. Yeah, if you love the club, then protest and do something about it. You're willing to allow the club to sink to this depths, to erase its history, to treat the fans with contempt. Yet you're allowing it to happen. Right. And only now you're flip-flopping and saying what we've been saying for the last God knows how many years now. And the truth of the matter is the reason why, well, certainly me, I don't, and I would like to think you guys, the reason why we do this channel, right, it is to bang the drum and wake people up and tell the truth about Tottenham and where we are. Otherwise, we might as well just stop doing the channel and just do whatever we're doing and not have the hassle, right? But we do it because we love the club.
I just do it because I like the sound of my own voice. But
Well,
each to their own.
You're special, isn't it?
No, but
you're
you see
spot
what
on
I mean?
though, Maz.
There's
If we wouldn't, if we didn't do this, and Iggy and still hadn't started this, and we didn't have the likes of us or the likes of Sava, we'd end up being. This was what the This is what the fan base would be. We're 15th. Oh, it's all right. It's always next week.
The injuries.
It's always next week.
Listen, let's have it right. If it wasn't for this channel, probably, in fact, Brian Daigle, I would say that the Levy out noise wouldn't be in existence the way it is today. Don't get me wrong. The protesters, they started it all off. They were doing it 10 years before I even got involved. But the fact we said, you know what, we've had enough, man. And we started using the channel to voice that. Brian Daigle was going on We Are Tottenham TV, just having his rants about the owners. That kind of gave the protest movement a more online voice. And then the whole hashtag Levy Outs on Twitter began. Channels wouldn't even be talking about the owners or having conversations or so-called debates. Levy, Enoch, this wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for the likes of us and a few others. It wouldn't exist. And that's a fact. We never started it. The protesters, they deserve all the credit. They were there.
Yeah, we're not claiming we started it, but we're at least using our
we helped it,
ever small influence we have to do it, right?
Yeah. And that's why that exists now, because what then happened is people watching us, 5, 10, 20 people would go onto the other channels and say, why don't you ever mention the board? They do. And then they felt under pressure, like, do you know what? We've got to say something because people are calling us out for it. And I listen, I called everyone out on it. And I got the backlash from it. But me calling it out forced the conversation. Iggy's laughing because
and good on you. But I think what people don't realise is
it wasn't worth it, was it? It wasn't worth it, mate.
And it's interesting. No. What a lot of people don't realise, and it's interesting when you have fan calling shows, and it's sometimes it's hard to get fans to actually come on and show their face, right? Because they would rather just say their opinion on text and not put a face behind their opinion. But it's difficult. It's difficult coming online, showing your face to the world effectively, right? Putting your opinion out there and being scrutinised for it. And there's very few channels that do what we do because they're not willing to put their head above the parapet, right? And the only time that the other channels put their heads above the parapet is after the fact that everything has happened, and rather than sticking to their beliefs and upholding their morals, would rather lie to themselves and lie to the fans and say, oh yeah, we've got our Tottenham back this, back handball. Oh, Livy's great because look at the amazing stadium and look at the amazing this, that, and the other. And they refuse to ignore all of the evidence pointing to the contrary.
Yeah, they do it. They do it when the wind changes direction. It's like, well, if we don't capture this wind, we're going to lose all the audience elsewhere. We better. It's almost like they're forced into it. It's a bit like the Labour government. They've been forced into saying, all right, we'll look at this grooming scandal. All right, we'll have a look at it. They don't have
the
a
worst
choice.
Out of all of them, mate. He's the biggest happy clapper I've ever met.
Who?
Can't believe in Sava. Yeah, he's the worst out of all of them.
He's a fraud.
Absolute fraud, mate. Absolute fraud. He'll be here in a sec. You watch.
Guys, let's have a quick
chat.
He'll super chat. Call him out. Call him out. What are we thinking about Thursday night? Hoffenheim away. They haven't won in a long time, but on the weekend they picked up a win, which is they've done a bit of an Everton. They found a win out of nowhere just in time for Spurs. Look, they're not a good side, guys. They're like 16th, 15th in the Bundesliga. They're struggling, but
neither are we.
We're not good, and we've played struggling teams: Ipswich, Everton, Crystal Palace, and we're going there somewhat tired. Not much ability to rotate players. No Jed Spence, no Reguilon. So I'm guessing Davies will go left back. Archie Gray will go back to right back, and then he'll play Dragusin Davies in the middle with Kinski. God knows what midfield. Probably the same as we saw on the weekend. And then up
Is,
front, maybe
Bentancur-
Mikey Ball starts.
Is Bentancur done his amount of days yet? Because do you
think
know
he's
what?
back.
I think he's one. If you could just
think he's
keep that
back.
guy from stop getting booked and getting suspensions and injuries, I think in our current midfield, he's the best one out of all of them to have in front of the defence.
Yeah, he is, but it's the injuries,
But
isn't
he
it? And
just
the
can't keep him on the
suspensions
bloody pitch.
Yeah, he's getting some freak one. That was a freak injury that he got with his freaking. That last
Yeah.
injury was just a joke, wasn't it? Like, what can you do, man? But yeah, you're right, man. Listen, for me, he's one of my favourite midfielders that we have at the club right now. So for me, the longer we can play him, the better it is.
Everyone's
For us.
predicting a Hoffenheim win in the chat. Everyone's going.
Listen, I'm doing a watch along that day with We're Tottenham TV, so that's going to be an interesting one, man. But
I'm definitely calling in if you're on. I'm definitely calling in.
Call in.
Iggy!
Yeah,
Hey, happy clapper. How are you?
Nah, man. You know what? When I accepted to do that, man, I didn't think I'd be going into this situation that we're in right now. Honestly, it was it's hard. Like I said, guys, this is no different. I know Hoffenheim is like, you know, they won on the weekend against bottom of the league. They've had really, really poor results as well, and it's just I don't know,
Iggy,
because
if we don't
like
beat
I said,
Hoffenheim, Iggy, if we don't beat Hoffenheim, add another 2 games to the fixture list in February.
Yep. Rob Frank has it.
Yeah,
100%.
spot on.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what I'm saying. The plot thickens. By the way, great photo, Rob. Great photo there, Rob. That's the old Spurs pony shirt. And yeah, listen, I don't know what to say. I like I said, when I thought we'd be going in watching a decent game of football, but right now, how can you go into any kind of confidence in any Spurs game? So just have to see how we go on. But it's difficult. Away from home, we've been dreadful. We've been bad enough at home, but away from home, we've been even worse. So I don't know.
We've got Austin or Foster in goal as well, haven't we? Kinski can't play. He's not registered.
Yeah, so Austin was like that to play. I don't think Foster, but I'm okay with Austin because at the end of the day, I thought he did really well. I thought he was really unlucky to lose his place after getting the Man of the Match award.
Why did we sign another keeper again?
I don't know,
because we've got a really big glove sponsorship deal, and we haven't got enough hands to use them.
Austin will have to go because Kinski can't play. He can't play there. He can't play in Europe.
You know what? There's always a drama before every game. There's always something. This
is what I'm saying. That we don't. The goalkeeper thing right now. The goalkeeper thing. Okay, Austin plays, and I'm okay with Austin because I thought he was decent. I thought he was decent in that game. But for me, I saw enough to say, you know what, he's a decent keeper.
Come on, Iggy, what are you thinking? We're going to win, lose, draw?
Even the Christmas tree wasn't that bad. I mean, for 4 of the games he played, he was our best player. You know, I'm not saying he's
the tree. Called him a tree. Who's going to be talking about
the Christmas tree? The tree.
He called him a tree. Foster.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I used to call him the lamppost.
No, that goalkeeper.
Lamppost tree.
All I know on
the
Thursday,
fridge.
I'm not gonna let Spurs if they lose or draw, I'm not gonna let them get me down because Thursday is my birthday and I choose to be happy. I'm not gonna let Spurs.
You will get down.
Ruin my day. I'm not gonna let them ruin my day. It's my birthday. Thursday.
Mari, we'll send you some money for some electricity or something, mate.
I need to turn the light on. I'm in the dark.
He's disappearing. Where's he gone?
Send some to Maz as well.
It's not that bad.
Send some to Maz as well.
Yeah, man. We're in the dark, man.
It's a back
Spurs done this to us.
Listen again. This Hoffenheim, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's not a Premier League team, so you don't know. It'll be see what happens when the whistle blows. Do you guys think though? I know there's been a lot of conversations around, you know, he's being keeping because he's in the cups and stuff like that. Do you think maybe the Europa, in actual fact, is the important one out of all of them, because that really is our only road
We're not winning the
to the
Europa
Champions League. Well, no,
not
exactly.
winning
I
the
don't think we are either. But while he's still in it, that is the only road to the Champions League. To that,
I can't believe we're even thinking about such things.
I can't even believe I just said it, to be honest with you, Az.
Bottom.
But I know I can't believe I just said it. But you know, there's got Levy doesn't logically think, or the board doesn't logically think like a football, you know, a football club. So you have to think of these things. But do you know what? Actually, someone put a really good question in the chat earlier, and I know it's probably quite a long-winded one that we'd all have to answer. But someone said, if you were the director, what would you change and what would you do? If you call, because we call them out so much, but what would you do? Well, yeah, I know you would do that.
Just keep a manager, a good manager, a top manager in place and properly back him with experienced, proven players, which is what I thought the stadium was going to do.
I'd first off, I'd stop micro
plan, man.
Yeah, first off, I'd step back and I'd get someone in who was actually football minded to run it. Leave me to the business side. You deal with the football side.
But hasn't he done that?
Micromanaging transfers and stuff like that. And I would have a massive look at our wage bill. I know we're sustainable. I know we'd like to be called a sustainable club, but sometimes you just have to loosen those purse strings a little bit. And if you want to get over the line, you just have to, you know, because at the end of the day, triumph brings profit. Stel, you got the screen up on thing.
Oh, sorry. That's the YouTube screen.
I can't bear to look at myself twice. It's bad enough once.
Well, Hoffenheim, they're currently 15th. They're one place above relegation. They've played 18, won 4, drawn 5, lost 9, scored 23. They've conceded 35 goals. Their goal difference is in the negative. Their current trajectory is draw, loss, and they got a win. They got a win. There it is on the weekend, just before Spurs. Listen, they're not good.
Basically, Everton.
They're not good. They're Everton.
Literally Everton.
Yeah. So we're playing Everton on the weekend. The German Everton. Let's call them Everton. Was that a good accent? Probably not. Iggy, come on. Prediction.
I think we'll.
Go on.
Dare
Go
I
on.
say it?
We're going to win. Go on.
I think we're going to win. No strike.
Listen, we've got a striker. We've got Richarlison back, and we've got Lancashire. So there's 2 wide. We've got Son. We've got what's his name, Mikey Moore. We've got.
I think it's going to be like a 0-0, 1-1 draw. I don't think we'll win. I don't think we'll win us.
A draw.
I think we're going to draw. Yeah.
What, Liverpool? No, sorry,
no,
what
Hoffenheim.
game?
Hoffenheim.
I'm thinking of bloody Liverpool.
Mari, you watch a lot more of the international football than what we do, if we're honest about it. Well, except for Italy, he watches Italian football. What do you reckon? Are we going to?
Yeah.
You watch Napoli. What do you think? Are we going to get a result? We're going to get a draw? We're losing?
I'm going to go with the birthday pick. It's my birthday.
We're gonna party like a sugar.
I'm not going with my head. I'm going with my heart. I'm going to say 2-1 Spurs. Happy birthday, Mari.
Listen, maybe Europe could be a welcome distraction, man. Maybe Europe is a welcome distraction. It's different.
2-1 Spurs.
Yeah.
Maz?
I haven't got a clue. I haven't watched any Bundesliga this season, so I haven't got a clue. Judging by where they are in their table, they don't look very good. I mean, they're minus 12 goal difference. So,
But neither are we.
But then again, we're so bad. I mean, we can barely beat Everton. So, well, we can't beat Everton. So I haven't got a clue. Honestly, I just do not. I think it may be 1-1 draw or a 2-1 to Hoffenheim. I can't see us winning.
It can't
So
always
a
rain.
draw
The
or a
sun
loss?
must come up sometime.
I'll tell you
It can't
what.
always rain.
I'll tell you what.
It can't be always that grey cloud above. It has to.
Wait, is it a home game? Oh, we're on
It's
the
away.
away.
It's
We're in
away.
Germany.
Oh man, my birthday's fucked. Okay, change my prediction. We won Hoffenheim.
Take that cake back.
In Germany? Wait.
Not oh shit, we're gonna lose. My birthday's fucked.
Well, at least I have drinks. I'll be with friends that night, so I'll have drinks. I'll be able to drink it off.
Lose. Everyone's going for lose. Gift Orban played him. We wanted him.
A couple of old fashioned and a cigar.
I think we should have taken a punt on him, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I'll be okay. I'll have an old fashioned. I'll have an old fashioned and a cigar in my hand, and I should be good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Same as us.
Lee, what are you thinking?
As I said at the beginning of the show, predicting Tottenham scores is probably the hardest thing in the world to actually try and do right now. We should be beating them, right? We should be beating these guys. But I think it will be another one of those who turns up, what team turns up, and do we... Well, he's not going to, isn't he? He's not going to change his ways. He's going to go exactly the same as it is. So I think if... I don't know. I'm really struggling to try and... I look at the stats now. I think we should beat him probably 2-1, 3-1. But
1-1.
Do
Dr. Tottenham,
you know what I've got?
take your pill.
I don't think we're going to win either. I think no Spence is a bit of a blow because he was actually one of our decent players at Everton. I think that's actually a bit of a blow. And I also think Kinski, as much as, we don't know how good he might be. He made one or two really good saves against Everton. I don't know if Brandon Austin's got that in him. Also, set pieces, Kinski's looked solid. Brandon Austin he actually did okay. He did okay. Draw. I'm going draw. 1-1. 1-1. How good that none of us think we're going to win. How good. And we're playing the team that's 15th in Germany.
I'm fed up.
It's a reflection of the moment, man. It's a reflection of the moment.
Mate, I'm fed up
of
watching us see fixtures coming up where we should be battering teams, and we're not getting results. We're getting losses.
The only game
and the manner of which we're losing is bad as well. So, I mean, I can only go by what the stats
By the way, can I say something to you lot, right? I was watching Leicester on the weekend because we've got them next. So I thought, let me have a look because they're in shit form. Right? They're not good. Let me tell you something. You know Van Nistelrooy? He's got them set up right. Mate, he's got them set up all right. They just can't put the ball in the back of the net. But, do you remember how I told you last week Everton shouldn't have lost to Aston Villa? They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Villa didn't deserve to beat them. I'm telling you, I watched Leicester. They've got shape. He's got them organised. It's just they can't put it in the back of the net. I said 2-3 weeks ago, we'll beat Leicester. I'm not so convinced now. I'm not so convinced.
Are you saying that we should sack Ange and should have got Van Nistelrooy?
I'm saying that there's changes that you can see and they're not negative. They're positive changes that are happening.
Say yes. Just say yes.
No, I don't want Van Nistelrooy.
What difference does it make? It could be anyone apart from Ange.
The thing is, this is going to be one of those games, isn't it? Right?
If we don't beat Hoffenheim, we go into that game with a lot of confidence low. And Leicester, I'm telling you, I watched them play. There's something there. I'm not saying they'll beat us, but don't underestimate them.
You know, though, that if Maddison starts in that game, Vardy's going to be all over him. He's going to be winding him up like you've never known before. And I think he'll be the difference whether Vardy winds us up or not. He's such a one of those guys. You hate him, don't you? But I don't know. If they're up for it, it could go either way, couldn't it? No matter what.
If we don't beat Hoffenheim, Lee, if we don't beat Hoffenheim, that Leicester game, it's a worry. If we beat Hoffenheim, I think we'll beat Leicester because we'll have a bit of confidence about us. I think we'll go into the game thinking, do you know what? We've stopped the rot for at least one game. But if we don't beat Hoffenheim, I don't know, man. I think we go into that game in a real rut and a half. Like we're in one now.
It's always harder, man. When you're playing a Thursday night and then you've got to play again on the weekend, it's Sunday. It's always that little bit harder.
I think it's an early game on Sunday as well, Iggy. It's at 2:00. It's not at 4 p.m.
You can't.
Yeah, you're right. It's 2:00.
It's at 2:00. Yeah. So
it's like, you know what? It's where the excitement as every game approaches. All of a sudden, it just becomes fear. Every game, you get closer to the game, closer to kickoff, and you're just thinking to yourself, "Oh my god!" That's how we're going into games, and that's for us as fans. And I can't imagine the players are looking forward to it either. So, like I said, I just don't see where this injection boost of confidence or something to uplift. Where's it going to come from?
Actually, thinking about it, when Andrew was talking about last week or the week before, I think it was, and I asked him about Romero and Van der Ven, I think I remember his answer being Romero's back around the 20th. I think he's starting training again this week. So we might have him back for Leicester. Not that it make much difference, but so there's a positive.
It'll be a bit rusty though, won't he? It'll be a little bit rusty.
Absolutely.
He'll probably need.
Is there any Euros in the next couple of weeks? Or
I think there's a break in 2-3 weeks' time, but yeah.
Oh, well, okay then. All right. Well, there we go then. He'll be out.
Mate, you can just see it now. 1-1, 90th minute, skip, through ball, Winksy 1-on-1, bang.
Oh, yeah.
Winksy
in the stars, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, right? If Winks or Skip scored a winner, I'm fucking done, man. I actually think I'll be completely done at that point. Like, totally.
Was it no win in 5, come to Tottenham, players we got rid of, score the winning goal, and yeah.
There's something I forgot to. There's something I forgot to mention actually. You know, when I was showing you all the Bournemouth signings, they also sold their best player to us. we gave them 60 million for Solanke as well.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, we're gonna call it a night.
He's a hard worker, though, mate. He's a hard worker.
Yeah. He links up the play. Big up to all the super chats and channel members. Tony gifting a membership. Horacio, new member. Big up Tommy, 2 super chats. I hate Marmite. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, 12:30 lunchtime. You can check me on Big Up. I'll be doing the tactical analysis show. There's the link down there. Just type in bigup.com away. Here's some screenshots. That's kind of what the show looks like. Come and join me.
Could have got a better photo still.
I just took a screenshot.
Like you just given up,
mate. Yeah.
Imagine tomorrow's one's going to be fucking. Imagine how we got opened up by Everton within 20 minutes.
It's going to be an hour of
the
still trying to work out the formation.
Ever. Just the first half, nothing to see in the second. Just bang. And this is where we got cut up. This is how Calvin Lewin got in after 17 games. Do
you know, it's so hard to do anything positive every game. When you try and do the tactical analysis, it's just a shit shows. He's shit. They're out of position. Why has he done that? Why is the shape here? Why is he being...
What time is that on Big Up? What time is it on?
12:30 lunchtime, 12:30.
All right.
If anyone wants to join me, by the way, you're welcome. It's a bit different to YouTube. You have to click request to join, and I say yes, and then you come in and you can jump on.
Make sure in a post, in a community post tomorrow morning, just put a link so everyone can join through that.
Yeah. I do.
Put it in a pin. Last time I put it on the pin. Put it in a pin so they can just click on it.
Cool. Guys, listen, thanks for watching tonight as always. Appreciate all of you. We'll be back. Our next show, I believe. I'm not doing a show on Thursday because I can't be bothered to do a post-match show on Europa Cup until we get out of the group stage.
Come and bombard me then. On We're Tottenham TV. Come and have the panel show after that.
Go watch. Listen, Thursday. Go watch Iggy on We Are Tottenham TV. Get your Tottenham away hit there, and then go afterwards. And
normally I would take over, but I will be going to dinner.
Yeah, we'd be too pissed to care.
Yeah.
And send messages on the channel. Happy birthday messages to Maury. Wish him. How old are you, Maury? 22, 23, something like that.
23.
20. Yeah.
And next Monday.
Oh, Lee.
It's your birthday.
That could be a messy show. Only day that I'm allowed to drink.
Oh boy, are you going to come on the channel and drink? I think you should.
Oh no, I shouldn't.
Crack open a couple of cans.
Just come on there pissed. We'll be fine.
Mate, listen. I think no. This is a good idea. We
I think
lose
that's
to
my
Leicester
best
on
idea,
Sunday.
watching Spurs.
You come on with your Leicester blue background, drunk. We'll have a fucking great show.
Mate, I'm turning it red. Arsenal supporter from now on if we lose.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't piss me off now. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Say
you've just
anything,
gone
but not
too
that.
far
Don't
and
say
ruined the
that.
whole show. Well done.
Yeah, they just ruined it.
Guys, listen, thanks for tuning in.
God.
Catch us. Oh my God, get rid of that. Tune in tomorrow, 12:30 on Big Up. I've just pinned the link to the top of the chat. Also, we'll be back. Listen, we'll have some. Murray, did North London is ours this week?
Yeah, I was gonna make the invite for tomorrow night because Wednesday, I think Arsenal plays Champions League. We play Thursday, so I was gonna do it tomorrow night.
All right, North London is ours is back tomorrow night. Murray, come check that out. I'll have a video out as well at some point this week on this whole Levy situation. So you'll just hit the notification bell. You'll know when it's coming out. Otherwise, we go live Sunday night for the post-match Leicester game, and then we're back next Monday, people. Thanks for watching as always. Look after yourselves.
Big up, guys.
Have a good
and big
one.
up on 12:30 tomorrow.
See you later.
When you Spurs.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.